Back in December, I deleted social media off my phone just to give myself a little bit of a break, and I feel like an unexpected outcome has been that not only does my brain have more space to breathe and kind of notice and appreciate nature and like the people around me and things like that, but also I feel like I've been more interested in appreciating and getting inspiration from other types of media, like more traditional things like movies and TV shows. Since I'm not really letting myself watch short form content, I've been kind of replacing that addiction with getting really into TV shows and movies, and I've been feeling really inspired by them lately, just in general, but also specifically when it comes to interior design. So today I want to talk about 5 films and series that you should watch if you're obsessed with interior design or just want to get some home design inspiration. And also, these are all really good shows. Like, genuinely, these are all 5 like 10 out of 10 shows and movies in my book. So let's get into the first one. The first one I want to talk about is called Bad Sisters. It's a series on Apple TV and it's rather new, I think just in the past year or 2. It's about a group of 5 sisters in Ireland, and one of the sisters is married to this like horrible man, and they all hate him and essentially plot to kill him. It's definitely dark, but it's also very funny, and I feel like it feels very real despite having kind of an outlandish, like extreme story to it. Like, the characters are very raw and brash, which I think just goes along with being Irish, but therefore their homes are also very kind of raw and real and messy, and I feel like that's why there's such good inspo in this show. My favorite house in the show belongs to the oldest sister, Eva. She's single, no kids, she's kind of a career woman, she lives alone in this beautiful house, and I looked it up, and this house is actually called Longacre, this property. It's in Howth, Ireland, and sadly they recently ripped it down and built something really new and modern, but I was able to find some original pictures of it. This room is probably my favorite room I've ever seen, with these like really subtle stained glass details around it. It's obviously just a full window atrium. I just love the shape of it. A lot of the plotting to kill this man happens in Eva's house, specifically around this table in her kitchen, and I was just noticing that there's a lot of like red on red on red in this room. And not only do I really kind of love that look, and it's something I wouldn't normally think to do in my own house, but I was also wondering if it's kind of a hint or a nod to blood and just the theme of murder and sort of vengeance that happens in this show. You've got the red walls, the cherry wood, the terracotta tile. I love in this space how they use a bunch of different woods and it just works. Again, it feels like very collected and raw and kind of realistic. I'm also obsessed with these salt and pepper shakers. I think they're so pretty. In this shot, you can see there's also red brick on the one wall behind them, and I just wanted to note that I love these chairs. What are these chairs called? Does anyone know? Please let me know in the comments if you know these curtains that go like just to the countertop. I feel like I would never do this, but it's so cozy. Like, I don't know if it's realistic because I feel like they'd get dirty. They're like right by the sink, and you can see she's got like dirty dishes everywhere. To sort of have like fabric there, maybe not the best idea, but I think it's so cute. Because it's a newer show, there's not as many like screen grabs online of it and of like all the other sisters' houses, but there's 5 sisters: Eva, Grace, Ursula, Phoebe, and Becca, and they all have different styles and very different types of homes. It's really worth the watch for so many reasons. Next up, just sticking with the theme of murder for a little while longer, is Only Murders in the Building. If you haven't seen this, it's about people who live in this super iconic apartment building in New York, and they become friends through investigating murders that happen in the building, and they actually make a podcast about it, which is kind of funny. It's set in the Belnerd, which is a famous real building in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and because of the setting, all of the characters have these unique New York style apartments. My favorite apartment in the show actually belongs to one of the side characters, Loretta. She shows up in season 3. She's played by Meryl Streep, and her character has wanted to break into theater for a really long time. So her space really reflects that, having been there for years and years and just collecting things over time. Doesn't look like someone super successful financially lives here, but instead a woman who's clearly still trying to find her way. I love the colors in her kitchen. It's just so classic cottagecore with the sage green and the light countertops and the copper pots and stuff everywhere, other wood tones throughout. I just also love all the pattern mixing in this space. There's 2 different wallpapers, the layered quilts with the headboard that also has pattern on it, the rug, the pillows. I could go on. There's just like patterns everywhere. Like I said, every character has like a very different style. So if you've watched the show and you have a favorite, let me know in the comments. The next one, I guarantee not that many of you have seen. It's a little niche. It's called The Durs in Corfu, and it takes place in Corfu, Greece. Which, side note, my sister is also doing a very similar video to this, but with fashion. So if you also are interested in fashion and you want to see movies that you should watch if you're obsessed with fashion, go watch that. She's also including the Durs in her video. So yeah, go give that a watch if you're interested. I've only watched a season of this show so far, but it's based on a true story about a widow and her 4 kids who leave England in search of a happier life and move to Corfu, Greece, this really small town in Greece in the 1930s with like no money. There are adventures and misadventures, and overall it's just so wholesome and funny. It's like a great palate cleanser show. This is the house that the show was filmed in, and actually it's a house that you can go and stay in, which is so cool. They've updated it a ton, so it's super modern. I'll show you in a bit what it looks like now, but this is what it looked like in the show. It's very beautiful, but it's also really worn down. As you can see, like the family didn't have much money when they got to Corfu, so they kind of just got this house for super cheap through someone that they randomly meet. It's not like this flashy, like super well-designed home, but it takes place in the 30s, and so there's just like a lot to see that's so different from sort of what we do now in interiors, especially with it being European. So I just found a lot of inspiration there. I love the kitchen, the red walls with a deep teal piece of furniture and the raw wood. This is obviously supposed to look like it was 100 years ago. Actually, I have no idea what this woman with the 2 ducks is doing, but here's what the rental house looks like now. It's right on the water, as you can see. I love the facade with these dark green shutters. I think it's so beautiful. Here you can really see how much more modern it looks on the inside now, but also very tasteful. And you can definitely tell that you're in Greece. All of this is very, I feel like, characteristic of like Greek interiors. The eat-in kitchen, also so European. And same with having a washing machine in your kitchen. Why do I think that's so cool, and I kind of want to do it? The bedrooms are beautiful with this like exposed brick. You have like the plank wood in the ceiling with the beams as well. Just so many different materials, but at the same time it looks simple. Like it looks stripped back and very natural. Look how cute this little cutout is in the bricks. I have no idea what that is, but those are like the types of weird things in old houses that I love. Oh, I love everything about this bathroom. That big dramatic curtain. Like, I feel like in America we don't do that in bathrooms. Like, instead we treat our windows so that like we can't see through them, like make them blurry or whatever. I forget what those treatments are called. Because obviously in a bathroom you need privacy, but how much more beautiful is it to have just like this big swooping curtain, especially with like the high ceilings. Oh my gosh, I just think it's so gorgeous. And also having a plant in the bathroom, like a big plant sitting on the ground. I feel like I want to do that. Okay, next up, I just saw this in theaters and was absolutely blown away. A Complete Unknown. Timothée Chalamet is a creative genius, and I just don't understand how he did what he did with this movie. But anyway, it's about Bob Dylan's early life and career in the 1960s, mostly in New York, but also in California, like when he toured there. They did such a good job recreating his New York apartment. So it's just so cool to see, even though it's like really messy and not like your typical design inspiration. I just think again, just seeing a creative's space to me is always inspiring. Just what a creative act also to be like working on the set design for this and to just make those creative choices of, you know, what's really would have been authentic to Bob at the time. And this is Pete Seeger's family home in the movie, which is cool. It's more of like a cabin in the woods vibe. The red vintage oven and all of the different wood tones in here. It's just like such a cozy space. Again, with the eat-in kitchen. All of these plates and bowls and kitchen utensils are the decor. With all these open shelves, but like every shelf is like a different wood. I don't know. It's just really, really cool. Okay, my favorite home in the movie belongs to Joan Baez. It's her house in California. And annoyingly, I can't find a single image or clip of her house. So you're just gonna have to go see it or watch it when it comes out on streaming in order to see it. But it's just so iconic, like mid-century Woodstock vibes. And it's so beautiful. So yeah, if you have not seen that movie, it's a must. Last on my list is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's When Harry Met Sally. It's iconic. If you haven't seen it though, it takes place in New York in the 1980s, and it's about two people who reunite after going to college together but kind of not liking each other at all. Sally's apartment is so cute and cozy and just like fits her character so perfectly. She's doing the mixing of the patterns as well, and I just love her cute flowery quilt. Her penguin collection shows up in multiple shots, which I just think is so funny and quirky. Her kitchen is simple and fairly tidy. Again, I love like the hanging utensils here behind the stove. And I always love when kitchen appliances match the color of the cabinets. And so I kind of miss these like old school white appliances, honestly. Most of Sally's world is pretty light and airy. Like, I wouldn't say messy, but also not clean enough to feel pretentious. This is their friend's place, but I just love the architectural elements of this apartment. The window mullions with like those little circles, they don't block the view, but they really add a lot of character, and I feel like we don't see that too often anymore. Their fireplace too, I just love, and how they have like these family photos nested into the molding on the wall behind them here. This dog lamp, I don't know if you can really see it, but it's just so unique and funny, and I love that. This blue color I talked about in my last video, I think, but it's the exact blue that I'm so obsessed with right now, and it looks so good with that red art on the wall behind it. Okay, and lastly, their friend's headboard is so cool. Like, I would die if I found something like this thrifting. I feel like it could give like shitty hotel, like in another context, but because the room around them is so cozy, I think it is really pretty and like warm. This is just an aside, but how funny is it that like in 80s and 90s movies, there's always a scene where someone's in bed on the phone with like the long corded phone like stretching across the whole frame, like the whole bed. Like, why is that so iconic? And I'm obsessed with like shots like this. I think what I love so much about set design or production design is like you're not just thinking about what's gonna look good on camera, but you're really like telling the backstory of the characters. And I feel like that's just so cool. Like, the person's job is not to go in there and be like, oh, this looks good, you know, this is good design or whatever. Their job is to get into the mind of the character and really like live and breathe them for a second and figure out what they would bring into their home. So yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking I might do more videos like this, like going deep into one movie or TV show. And just like talking more about it. So if you're interested in that, let me know. It might be very niche, but just let me know if you like that idea. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll be back soon with another one. Bye.